Why do we make art? Why do we sometimes stay up until 4 in the morning, burning with the desire to create that piece of art that may never sit in a gallery, may never sell and hang on a wall, or was never commissioned by a client? I think this is one aspect to those who are not artists or not into making art that can be really confusing. And for our non-artist friends, it can sometimes be easy for them to categorize what we do as a hobby, right? Yes, sometimes it can be a hobby, but it's more than that. Do you agree? Years ago, a friend of mine came over to my studio and I happened to show him a book project I was working on at the time. He was not an artist, nor was he into art. Maybe he was into the investment side of it, so he knew what art looked like, or at least the monetary value of it. Rembrandts and Picassos we see daily and are told this is the pinnacle of art to aspire towards. This is what you need to have or create to be a success. But he was definitely not into art. In his mind, the images I was making for a children's picture book were naive, unfinished, and he had no interest in them at all. And why would he? They were designed for a different audience. They were designed to capture the attention of a parent buying the book and engage the child's mind to entertain and educate them. They weren't for a mid-20-year-old single man who probably wasn't planning on having any kids anytime soon. So I was definitely pitching to the wrong audience that day. And that's what it's all about, isn't it? We make art for an audience. That first audience is us. We want something that we can't get anywhere else, that has only existed as a thought, and now we want it to be something real sitting in front of us to look at. And only we know how to get it, right? We can't explain it to someone or type a few words into a computer and have it spit out an image exactly the way we want, like an AI. No, this is only something we can do because we have the burning desire to do it. And so our journey begins. We stay up late, get up early, grab those free moments when we can to pursue that creation process. Refining, practicing, building daily our skills to get better and better. Working out the tools we like and the ones we don't. Which lines do we need to draw and the ones we don't. Promising ourselves we'll cut back on the coffee when the next picture is done. You know what it's like. It's almost like someone has lit a fuse and you're about to take off like a rocket. Your creation process accelerates and you're all in. But inevitably comes a moment where we stall. We start to look at social media or our peers' work and think, wow, they're so good. Why can't I paint like that? Or worse, I'm never going to paint like that. But what if you looked at it a different way? What if you thought, I never want my art to look like that? Okay, so that probably doesn't make any sense, so hear me out. Imagine a world where everyone just ate the same food every single day, no matter the city or the country. Just the same thing every single day. Or everyone just listened to the same style of music, or watched the same sport, wore the same clothes, and so on. It would be a pretty boring place, right? It's the same with art. Yes, it's fun to draw Hulk and Iron Man, and it does get a lot of attention, but what if you just drew your own characters? There is probably a treasure trove of characters and ideas sitting out there in the brains of some really talented artists, locked away behind the usual plethora of products we're told sells and gets all the attention, driving us all to make similar work. I remember when the Harry Potter films first came out and the books were really popular. Publishers would ask me to create cover artwork that looked and felt like that style, especially if the book was about wizards, witches, and magic. Now, there is certainly no harm in jumping on the bandwagon of ideas, but they never reached the status or popularity of what they were trying to emulate. I sure don't remember any of those books. And people can argue that art really isn't a necessity. It's a recreation, a luxury. In my opinion, that is not true. Without art, we wouldn't have houses, buildings, cars, and entertainment. We wouldn't have beautiful decorations or jewelry that brings us joy and makes us feel special. Without art, we wouldn't have the opportunity or desire to watch the latest movie or buy a book or watch a live concert. It's usually the statement art is a luxury or it's just a hobby that comes from non-artists, and then we as artists start repeating it. But if we believe that, then why would we bother making art? If we're not in love with what we do, how do we expect someone else to take it seriously? If it wasn't for those great artists who came before us, designed the stop sign, a Porsche, or the Sagrada Familia, we would never have had the innovations and beautiful things we have today. So you, as an artist, have an obligation to paint, draw, create, whatever you want, but do it your way. And I'm not talking about style, and I'm not talking about technique either. I'm saying make your art. Make that thing that only exists in your mind. And don't be afraid to make it just for yourself. Because there is a whole audience of people who can't make what you do, but would love to see your art and admire your work and be inspired or get joy from it. So this is just my opinion on the whole art creation thing. If you have an opinion, please feel free to share with a comment. And if you're feeling stuck or finding it hard to start because you're looking at others' work and worried you'll never get there, don't be. Just remember that same artist probably felt the same way once, but kept making their art for their very special audience anyway, themselves.